They have their little fins on their bellies, laughing, guffawing.
I've got a question for you two gentlemen. There are 553 films with at least one exploding helicopter in them. How many of them do you think have shark-related exploding helicopters?
Okay, so there's Deep Blue Sea.
It's a plane in Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus. But that's a brilliant plane takeout.
I'm going to guess there's at least one in a Sharknado film. I haven't seen any of them, but like I feel like there's been.
Ooh, I haven't seen all of them, so I can't. There may be some in there that I don't know.
Jaws 2
doesn't explode.
Yeah, it doesn't explode.
So I famously have seen very few other shark films, so Deep Blue Sea is the one that I have.
There's a very big one from the last few years. That
I can do that.
Oh, the Meg.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Yes, of course, because the helicopters. That's not really a shark. Isn't really involved. That's two helicopters ramming into each other because they're dumb.
Well,
they're looking at a shark, so I don't know.
It's a film. It's a film about. Let's not split hairs here.
Okay.
It's a film about mutant sharks or unusually sized sharks, and it has an exploding helicopter in.
Yes.
From my research, I have found 7 films with exploding helicopters and some form of shark mutant or genetically modified or otherwise in it. So Mark, you were right. Actually, Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus does have a exploding helicopter in, but it gets blown up by a falling piece of ice when they're near one of the polar caps or something. Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus, you get to see one in there. Sadly, it's the Crocosaurus that takes care of the helicopter there. The Meg, as we mentioned. Then there's Hammerhead, although sometimes it's called Sharkman, which is a DTV film. Then there's Dino Shark, which is a Roger Corman joint. Then there's a very special one, which I would urge you to look up online, which is called A-Tank. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's an Indian film, double A, then T-A-N-K, A-Tank. Absolutely insane sequence there, which involves people being catapulted through the air with a harpoon. There's all kinds of insanity going on there, and then obviously the masterwork that we are talking about here. So this film is one of a very small number of films. We're talking about under 1% of movies have an exploding helicopter and some form of shark action in.
Wow. That's beautiful stats. I love it.
Thank you.
I know you like your data, so I thought I'd bring that with me.
Oh, it's the best thing I've ever heard. That's what I love in these eps, when I have something new, when I can learn something. I'm going to be, man, slow clap time. Just imagine that. From Not Another Teen Movie. That kid's trying to start a slow clap.
Can't just start a slow clap.
How about this idea for a movie? Right? There are 2 helicopters, and they're joyriding around, and they womp into each other. One of them blows up, and the other one crashes into shallow water. And it's watertight for some reason. So it's 2 people stuck in a helicopter underwater in need of oxygen with a great white shark. It's like 47 meters down, meets the shallows.
Meets Airport 77?
Yes, with an exploded helicopter sitting in 10 feet of water. How would you feel about that?
Well, I would say I kind of saw that in the 1970s thriller When 8 Bells Toll with Anthony Hopkins, because he crashes in a helicopter sort of on a sort of cliff beach type situation, and the helicopter explodes, then falls into the water, and Anthony Hopkins has to escape from the helicopter as it is underwater. So if I saw that in a film, I would be going, ugh. I would be sort of rolling my eyes at the fact that I
derivative.
This exactly. Again. Saw this 40 years ago.
See, I love that idea. Just 2 people sitting in an exploded helicopter with sharks around them.
Yeah, I would be, professionally obligated to watch that film, but I would also be quite interested in watching that film anyway. So, I think you better sort of copyright that idea before you put this episode live.
Or if you make it, just make me an associate producer and give me a cameo as an extra. You're
so generous. You're so generous.
Wait, be a cameo
put me
as
in
the
other helicopter
pilot.
with Chuck Tamburo and blow us up.
That's a deal.
I've worked on movies with helicopters before. They're a pain in the butt. You gotta secure mass areas, because if a wrong car goes by when the helicopter's circling, it's a pain in the butt. Working with helicopters is not. I've seen a helicopter explode on set.
And they're going to be
Kind-
tens of thousands of dollars an hour in like aviation fuel,
Yep.
expensive,
Boring.
time-consuming, boring.
Can I tell y'all
Apart from
something that's
my
been bothering? I haven't spoken about this for our 12 episodes, but I got to get this off my chest. Can I tell y'all about this?
Oh, whoa, steady.
So on the DVD for Deep Blue Sea, I bought it back in 99, 2000. And when you go into the bonus materials aren't there. You have to click on decompression chamber first. And then that takes you to
Oh,
the
I
bonus
hate
section.
it.
Now, it's a first world problem.
Oh.
It is. It's very much a first world problem. But it never ceases to bother me when I click, bonus materials. Oh, the decompression chamber.
Right. It serves no purpose at all.
When we started this again, and I busted out the old DVD just to put in, and I saw the decompression chamber, like, what does this mean? So I froze there for a little bit. I pulled a Scoggins. I kind of fumbled around. I didn't quite know what to do. Then I was like, I got to hit decompression chamber. So it's a 2-step process to get to my Sam Jackson commentary.
Yeah, or the deleted scenes.
I can't believe I'm now discussing menu navigation on DVDs.
Deep Blue Sea DVD with an exploding helicopter.
I don't think at this point in time I can really discriminate what the DVD is. We're talking about the kind of information hierarchy and data storage units.
I'm telling you, man, it bothers me. I had to get off my chest. Right? I love this film. I love it. But two steps to get to my bonus materials.
Well, speaking of taking steps, one thing that's bothered me is Janice's walk at the start of this chapter.
Yeah.
Do you like that segue? I do. When she's got this weird kind of, it's an odd like limp that kind of switches legs as she's trotting across. I did think maybe she got injured. She and Dr. Susan McAllister got knocked over in the previous sequence, getting back to the elevator. So, maybe she injured her leg. But the way that she's kind of hop running is like the pain or the limp switches from leg to leg. It's very quick. It's like second 15 to 17 or something in this chapter. But it reminds me of Jurassic Park when Ellie, Laura Dern, is coming out of the raptor, where she's been kept of the raptors after turning the power on. She has like a weird run as well, a weird limp. Which is never explained, apart from she had a flashlight, she had a torch strapped to her leg in the previous scene that's not there anymore. And that's always bothered me. And I just get a flashback to that here. I'm guessing that hasn't bothered anybody else, so good.
I mean, it's a slippery floor.
Yeah.
We've established that.
And she's avoiding the blood of her lover.
Yeah, they should have metal grates in that lab. It's nice,
absolutely.
slippery tile. And maybe she's just... She got whapped into that thing. Maybe both legs hurt, and she's favoring either one of them.
Maybe. And she does appear to be avoiding stepping on the trail of blood, of Jim's blood.
I mean, I walk kind of weird when things are slippery. I don't want to slip.
Okay, fair enough. I'll allow it.
I do love that Steadicam shot, though, the way it walks right up to the camera. I thought that was a good little touch right there. I dug it.
Yeah.
What would you do if Janice was eaten in this scene?
Well, when she falls into the wet lab pool.
Would that have been too easy?
I think it would have been too quick. We've just lost Brenda and the helicopter crew to then immediately lose Janice, and then very soon after this we lose Jim as well. That's half the cast gone in the space of like 2.5 minutes. That feels too quick.
Yeah. Do you like that though? Like, the water scene? Did you kind of, for people not watching, I think it's a sly little touch to get her in there. Did you all not like that scene?
Why do we want to get her in there though?
I mean, just so like you're thinking the shark's going to eat her, so it's just more tension on top of an exploding thing. He's just adding
that never
tension on
occurred to
tension.
me for a second.
Oh wow, interesting. You just
maybe I'm just oblivious to danger.
What if Thomas Jane signed a slide waiver, so he had to slide 45 times, and so they just threw that in there.
We've got to write these in somewhere.
Yeah, he wrote that in there to make sure they were reading his contract.
I do like the direction of when the scene where Carter dives down to help her. I like the progress of shots where we have a shot of the whole pool and then the computer they're working on falls in. The camera then spins around and we see the monitor falling again into the water. Where then it falls next to Janice. We see her swimming and then she gets to the surface and then Carter dives down to help her out. The camera work is really like guiding the audience in terms of following the progression of this scene. It's not just cutting to her trying to get out of the pool and Carter jumping down. There's a whole story being told in those 5 cuts.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I think the same thing does with the explosion, just the little inserts that they shot in with the various shots of things blowing up. It definitely guides the viewer where to go without telling them. I'm telling you, the camera work, the cinematography in this is pretty good. I mean, it guides you to where you're going. You understand the scene. And I don't know how much people discuss this, but my favorite part in action movies or big fights or action scenes, I like knowing the geography of areas, and I like knowing like where exactly the fight is taking place. And so I think Rennie Harlan always does a good job of that. I mean, Will, you've watched a lot of action movies. I think he does a good job of guiding the viewer or letting you know the sense of place in the action scene. Like in Die Hard 2 when he explodes, the way they get there is actually not plausible, but you understand how they got there to that scene. And then in Cliffhanger, how they end up hanging on the helicopter, you get it. So I think it does. I don't know. I think he always does that in his movies. Like there's enough inserts to know where you're at in the action.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, there's definitely a lot of directors who, just don't pay any attention to that at all. And I find that really frustrating because if I don't understand the geography of the scene, then, I don't really understand, I think if you understand geography of the scene, it's part of understanding what the stakes are, what the peril and what the danger is or isn't to particular characters. And yeah, I would agree with you. Like, Harlan's films, you understand what is going on. You understand where people are, where things are, and, how they relate to one another.
I dig it. Sometimes I don't think he gets enough credit for that. I think Paul Anderson does a good job of that too. People laugh at that guy, but I love like Resident Evil. Like I think you understand the geography. That was a good pull, Jay.
Thank you. And this is the most action we've seen in the film so far, so it kind of makes sense. This chapter is one of the shortest so far. It's only a minute 41, but there are 60 cuts in the space of this 101 seconds, which is definitely the highest cut rate. We've not been keeping count so far, but in terms of cuts to seconds, I would bet this is the highest we've had so far by a long way.
Oh, wow. And it never feels excessive.
No.
I would say.
It's very well done.
Oh, wow. I was just watching Umbrella Academy, and I enjoy that show, but I don't think they put enough time for the fight choreography, and it's cut all to shreds, and you can feel it. But I never got that, because this movie's a classic. It deserved to be nominated for Best Picture, alongside Cider House Rules and...
No, this was nominated instead of Cider House Rules.
Yeah.
That's what we decided with Sean.
What would you rather see, Will? Deep Blue Sea or Cider House Rules nominated for Best Picture?
Oh, Deep Blue Sea every day.
Okay, oh! I thought you were going to be swayed by Michael Caine there, so I'm glad that you went on the correct side.
It's really not my favourite Michael Caine film.
Oh no, it's no one's favourite Michael Caine film.
Jaws of Revenge.
Yes, that's probably higher on most people's list than Cider House Rules.
With this airplane flying into the water, and then him being perfectly dry. I love it. All right, so how about this? Can we do something real quick, guys?
Go for it.
All right, so I want to put this on Twitter. I want to put this on Facebook. I want you, Will and Jay, I want you guys to do a exploding helicopter draft.
I feel like I am at a disadvantage.
So you guys will pick, right? So Will, you're the guest. You can go first. And Jay, you'll pick 5 movies. And then you can go to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, on Twitter or Facebook, and you can vote on the winner the day after this episode is released. So, Will, what's your first movie with the exploding helicopter?
Rambo 3.
Oh, yes. The perfect arrows being shot. I wrote an article for Rotten Tomatoes about the most accurate archers in cinema, and Rambo was easily the most accurate. He just nailed people. Oh, I love it. All right, Rambo 3. Who do you got, Jay?
I'll take Die Hard. It's a classic one. Johnson & Johnson.
All right. Will?
Stone Cold.
Yes. Brian Bosworth?
Oh, it's a classic exploding helicopter as well.
Oh, I love it. All right.
Let's see. I think the first Mission Impossible is got one that I always like. Getting an exploding helicopter in the channel is just. I mean, it's a scene I never thought I'd see. So
with a gum bomb.
Yeah, and the helicopter blades just stopping spinning right at Tom Cruise's throat.
All right. Who you got, Will?
I'm going to go Sudden Death, the one at the end with Powers Booth falling to his doom onto an ice rink.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, what's a better kitchen fight? The kitchen fight in Sudden Death or the kitchen fight in Deep Blue Sea?
Oh, Sudden Death.
The fight's the mascot?
The penguin, the giant penguin. I mean,
beautiful, isn't it?
The giant penguin. Where else are you going to get that?
Yeah, it's a good fight, too.
Yeah.
That penguin has no visual. Like, its peripheral's done, and it's still putting up a fight. I love it. All right, who you got?
True Lies.